Welcome back to the Titanium Hanger. Welcome back to Retro Wednesday on this New Year's Eve. We're going to send the year out with a bang. And I just realized when I was doing my Christmas special that I never did a video about the last 17 Star Wars. And since Star Wars really is my first and true passion, this is stuff I will never part with, of course, till the day I die, of course. And with that, it's like, why am I not making videos about it? Well, because it was a nice checklist I checked off 15 years ago, and maybe 10 for the carded stuff, that maybe I should start talking about a little bit more. So we'll get in talking about the last 17. I got them all carded, and I've got them all loose, and we'll talk about it. There's some caveats in there. I was trying to collect it as cheap as possible 15 years ago, and I think I fully completed it 10 years ago. But let's get into talking about the last 17, really the last 15, coming up. All right, let's get started with the last two figures that actually came out in the Jedi line, or the two figures that they weren't even on their own. Are they crossed out on their own card back? They shouldn't be. They were blacked out on the standard card backs, the 79 backs, for other characters to keep them secret because the movie wasn't out yet. I guess. I think that's what was going on with it. And with that, I'm not even sure if this bow I have of his, it looks a little brighter than what's in the package. I'm not 100% sure if it's original or not, but again, I don't even really care. I know that the sealed stuff's original, but the whole point here is that these two are actually Return of the Jedi, and they didn't come out only on the Power of the Force line. It's just the fact that they were so late in the line that they get lumped into the Power of the Force. And I don't even know, because I haven't looked into it too deep, but are these more valuable on the Jedi card, or are they more valuable on the Power of the Force card? I don't know. But I went after them on the Jedi card because that was actually the first run, and I got them each for like 50 bucks each. They were cheaper at the time than Power of the Force ones, and I haven't checked prices these days. And I will admit, when it comes to the Ewoks, I couldn't tell you the Ewoks' names. So we'll get the Ewoks out of the way first, mostly because these are technically not Power of the Force, but they're the last 17, and they are part of the last 17 because they are 15, so they're 16 and 17, and so the rest would be the last 15 on Power of the Force only that never showed up on a Jedi card. So this one here is Lumat, and again, after this video's over, tomorrow if somebody said which one's Lumat, I'd have to look it up because I would not know. He comes with this quiver. Almost all of them come with a head dressing of some sort, and then he's got this bow, which I think this one is original. I think I went out of my way to get an original one from someone because I was like, it's almost complete. But when I get a complete carded, I went after put all my money towards carded ones. I didn't want to put my money towards completing the loose ones, but now I kind of wish I would have done both at the same time. Still, it was still expensive 10 to 15 years ago. Just nothing like today's ridiculous crazy prices. And there's his card back, his art. They had the offer for Anakin Skywalker, which we'll see Anakin Skywalker in a bit. Then here's the Papalu card, and not much going on with a standard Jedi card. Funny, I like looking at price tags. So this one sold for 88 cents at Kmart. This one was 2 for $3, so $1.50. And I paid about 50 each for them. Now, I don't have his staff, which looks a lot like, no, it's got that split top on the staff right there, you can see. And so I probably actually do have one of those in a bag somewhere. I haven't even taken all the time to do all that. I went after the Ewoks line, the Droids and Ewoks line, and I was like, the next thing I need to do is just get all my weapons out and see how many match them all up. But yeah, that one's the one with the double on there. Look, I think the Wicket has just one arrowhead thing at the end. But at the end of the day, though, I'm not a big fan of the Ewoks themselves, but it was kind of fun to do the animated series stuff. All right, let's get into the rest of the Ewoks, and then we can move forward. All right, next up we've got Warrock and Ramba. And so this guy's got a bow. I think it's the exact same bow, unless I'm wrong. I'm right unless I'm wrong. But it's a darker colored bow. And yeah, it's a kind of a heavy set one of these guys. And he's got that as his headdress. And this one I actually feel like is a little harder to come by. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I just have less of these. I think I have like 3 to 5 of each of these, you know, missing their bow and missing their staff, but because I got them in collections and stuff. But this one, there's a story behind it. But let's look at his coin. Probably not going to show every coin, am I? But there's this coin. And the thing about it is, I got this for $2. It's rough shape. It's not in great shape, but I got it for $2 because the guy, some lady was actually selling her husband's collection of loose stuff, and then her son was like, yeah, like he wants to sell his, and he had the '90s Power of the Force stuff. But this one random figure was randomly in it, and she was like $2 a figure. I was like, so that's 20 for everything. So yeah, got it for $2. That was well over a decade ago. Then this one here, and it says it was on sale for, what is that price? 99 cents, $1.99, something like that. It's fading. Memories fade away. Do look how clear this one is and how amber and yellow that bubble is. These usually do yellow really bad, so I don't know how that Ramba stayed so good. And I don't remember how I got this Ramba. I do believe it was in the big sale, the big buy that I bought somebody's collection for $5,000. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. Then here's the figure, and he comes with a staff that looks like, does it look like Wicket's? Looks like a Wicket staff. And I'm not bothered about the staffs and stuff. Well, I probably should be, but I'm not. Here's his coin. And as you can see, I'm not too excited about Ewoks, but I am going to be really excited about the rest of these. Every figure has a story, and you're going to hear them all. Now, well, so these two are the hardest to get in the line. And I truly believe Anakin with a coin is actually the hardest. And then Yak, of course, the second hardest. But the thing about it is, these are stand solos. I don't have a carded original Yakface. A buddy of mine, the best deal I ever saw on a carded original with a coin as I was collecting these was my buddy got one for $1,700. And then he resold it later for $10,000 or something like that. But this was like $58 or something, and he was $48 from stand solo. Now I have an original that I paid about 82 pounds for 10 or so years ago, maybe 15 years ago. And at that time, a week after that, somebody popped up with 10 Yak faces. 4 of them were AFA rated, and he wanted $1,500, but he was in the UK also. And I almost bought it. And I was going to go halvies with my buddy, and I was even going to let him have all the AFA rated ones. But I wish I would have done it, but I had trouble getting over this is my first $100 figure I ever bought. The original one, which I haven't packed away. It's pristine condition. The problem with it is that getting over that hump of 100 doesn't immediately say I'm going to drop 1,500 on a set of 10. Now, this is a really bad shape Anakin, and Anakin is the tri-logo. So this is as close as I got. This is as close to the sun as I've flown. I don't even know if there's a stand solo Anakin that's got a coin, because I probably should get that. But if not, I mean, I don't really, doesn't bother me that much, and this one takes the spot on the shelf that's hard to see anyway. It's just kind of like I know it's there, so that's where that is. Now, the problem with the Anakin figure, well, he was a Melloway, so he's really, really common, which is odd because most Melloways are hard to get, except Star Wars Melloways, so those were easy to get because there was just an abundance of them and a bunch of card backs with some UPCs cut out, or points. But he's just a boring robe. It's like they took the Obi-Wan Kenobi figure and made it more boring. He doesn't have a lightsaber to come out, and he doesn't have a vinyl cape. He's literally just this, but that also makes it easy to collect later in life. So I'm not against that. I'm not mad about it at all. But there was one more story about these in the late 90s, early 2000s, or whatever. I do think it was early 2000s that there was an auction, and the pictures were not showing up. And the guy swore it was 85 Power of the Force sealed Yakface and Anakin. And the auction went for like $318. And I would have bid on it if I knew exactly what I was getting. And I think back on it, it would have been worth the roll of the dice. But, I don't really have any regrets. Next up, we have EV-9D9 and Amanaman. And with that, I will just say I paid 100 each for these. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't like I just walked up and someone said 100. Like everyone was like 250 or some ridiculous nonsense. And I said at a toy show 10, 15 years ago that I'd give them $100. And I think that there's like a dent in a bubble or something. And so you start really pointing out the imperfections. You almost start talking yourself out of it even at 100. But the guy caved and sold to me for 100. And then on the other one, it was like a little easier actually to get the EV-99. And again, that's the clearest EV-99 that I have ever seen, ever, because they're usually yellowed, and it would still come back wide graded, even that clear, because you can see how yellowed that one is. Now I did end up getting another set of these in a big giant collection I bought for $5,000. It was 72 carded figures for $5,000, so it's about $72 a piece. All right, and so a lot of these were from that, and so, but not these. I've got those. Some of those are AFA graded though, and I don't really play with the AFA so much. But this one is a reproduction figure. I have 4 or 5 originals, but I'm afraid to move the arms. I'm terrified because they will break. It gets brittle and a little bit warped, and if you try to move it and it's warped, it snaps. That's what happens. But he does have he's a chatty. It's a female droid, I believe. EV-99. But this reproduction stands perfectly. And they all have Boeing legs from Kenner. So they fixed some problems with it and it looks good. It's fine for my display and to showcase. I know the one in the Bubbles original and he's still going to be standing. He doesn't have an O-ring to pop or anything like a Joe. And then here is the Amanaman, or Amanda May. He comes with this crazy curved staff. And yeah, it's and I'm almost afraid to move his joints. They are kind of tight. This one is one that I remember seeing when I was a kid, and I said, that's not Star Wars. Why is this at KB? Well, you trying to fool me, trying to make me buy another Obi-Wan Kenobi just because he's got a stupid coin, and then now there's this lizard man that's not part of Star Wars. You're trying to make me believe it's part of Star Wars. And so as a kid, I had that like sealed the deal. Like this stuff coming out made me not want Star Wars anymore because it felt like it wasn't Star Wars anymore. Although, had I seen EV-99 at the store, I'd have wanted it because I've always loved the droids. They were always my favorite part. That and Anakin, not Anakin, Luke Skywalker. Anyway, let's move on. There's a list of points I just wanted to touch on in this video. Part story time, part educational series here. But it seems like the last 17 figures, their coins are far easier to get. Even though they're not cheap, it's not easy. Easier than figures that are later in the line that, say, not later in the line, but reissues. So there were 66 coins, so there's 17 figures that are the last 17 that are the main course, you could say. And the rest of them were probably short packed, because those coins are really hard to get in comparison to this. Then they've got these like level 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 of rarity and all that kind of stuff. But I just wanted to point that little piece out. All right, next up we've got the B-Wing pilot and the Imperial gunner, and these both have some fun little stories. But it's my understanding, if I am not mistaken, they do have the same tiny little gun. I don't know if there's any differentiation in them at all. And I will also say, like, the B-Wing pilot, and as I was just saying, was these other repacks are hard to get, the coins and stuff. This is probably the easiest one to get out of all of them. But also, I had a couple of these, and I didn't realize, though, I sold them, and I felt like, you know, $100 was a good deal to sell them for. But that little gun, and it appears to be that this one is, maybe this one's not black, and it's like a blue, but it's the same mold of the gun for this guy. These guys come with a black one, I believe. So this is where a lot of this stuff gets to be a problem. I didn't really worry too much about my loose weapons and accessories for these figures and characters, but it would help if I put the loose one out here. But I just wanted the figure, and the accessories I didn't worry so much about. But with that, I did end up getting this in my big buy of $5,000 for the collection. And I'm real glad and thankful that I jumped on it when I did, because the stuff skyrocketed after 2015 and then after 2020. And I paid 50 for this guy because he's got a little bit of bubble damage. And I have to thank my friend Trey. He called me up and said, "Hey, there's one of those for 50. It's not in the grade condition. I want to grade my stuff, so it's not in the condition for me. So you jump on it for 50." 50 shipped. I was like, it took me 30 seconds to buy it. I was like, heck yeah, get it now. But anyway, the Imperial Gunner's cool. You would think it'd be sort of a troop builder in a way, and he's a good looking figure. Like they did a good job on him. So yeah, I like the figure. He looks mean and tough. Although the actual character in the show didn't look that mean and tough. And then one of the things, they say that there's a female B-Wing pilot. So you just have to pretend it's just the male or the female. Well, underneath all that, you'll never know. But they do share the same gun, I believe. And there they are. And the backs all look the same. And one small other little note here, and if you can see, there's no Yakface on the back of this, on this card back, because Yakface wasn't released in the U.S. So the U.S. card back doesn't have a Yakface on it, and I don't even believe Yakface is on his own card back. I don't know. I'd have to see an original one to find that out, but I believe that was a joke. Yakface is on his own card back. All right, next up we've got the Imperial Dignitary, which is probably the most boring, even more boring than Anakin. And then we've got the Lando in, what do they call it? General gear? I know we call it General Lando, but General Pilot. So another one I've had for quite a while, quite a long time. And he comes with a black blaster. I think he's a good looking figure overall. And I really got to go through, I believe this is the original cape, but I have some really nice reproduction capes. I think I have 5 of this figures, so I ended up getting some reproduction capes. Got a couple originals, couple reproductions. So I'd have to kind of really do my due diligence to find out which one is original and which one's the reproduction. But this is a nice looking reproduction if it is. But him and his black blaster and all that. Well, and like I've said, well, first of all, he's held a blaster for so long, and then I make the video and it won't stay in his hand. And then the Imperial Dignitary looking pretty good. And then there's the card back. Both of them have some yellowed bubbles. A couple of stories here. So I got my carded one from Toy Base 10. So you're going to start hearing some more Toy Base 10 stories. But my carded one came from Toy Base 10. And it was $80. He wanted 80 or 85 or something. I traded in my entire Kiss collection, which was 4 Kiss figures, because I was like, I don't really need to collect Kiss figures. And he gave me this for $40. So I paid $40 plus what I had to pay $65 on the Kiss figures, which was kind of silly. Then the loose ones, this loose set came, I had bought an Imperial shuttle in a box, and in the pictures they showed these two sitting in the cockpit, and I was like, well, I don't know this one exactly, just one of them. And like crossed my fingers, and guess what? The Imperial shuttle showed up almost complete. I think it was only missing one piece, and the box 72 shipped, and both these figures were in it. So that was a big plus. Here are the coins, which I did have to track down separately, and I got almost all my coins. So I would say 90% of my coins all came from Toy Base 10, Steve. And in the early days, Steve was letting me have them for $5 a pop. But then when he noticed that I was buying 2 of the same one, he started upping me to 10 a piece, because I just wanted to have spares. But I wished I would have bought the ones that weren't just the last 17 ones. Speaking of coins, and I got both these from Toy Base 10 also in Oklahoma City. The Imperial Gunner, A-Wing pilot. I didn't show those from the last one. So yeah, there we go. Let's move to the next ones. There's still time to save Han. Well, we got Han and Carbonite, and we've got Poncho Luke, and Luke Skywalker in his battle poncho. So Poncho Luke. And I keep forgetting to show these. Maybe I should edit it in later, but there's a Yakface coin and an Anakin Skywalker coin. If I can show all that. But is that upside down? Something like that. All right, so getting into looking at these, this is grouping them together. Got him in that big collection for $5,000. I actually got two, and I traded one for a Fans Toys figure, which I know it just feel real weird trading vintage for modern, because the modern stuff can drop in price with the next reissue. The vintage stuff will stay pretty stable for the most part, and so it's throwing good money after bad. But I just didn't want to spend $400 on it, so I was like, all right. And I had a spare, and it wasn't doing me any good, and you know, it worked. It worked. I don't regret it yet. Not yet, but maybe I should quickly sell that figure while it's still worth $200 or $300. But yeah, Battle Poncho, he's got a belt, he's got a poncho. I don't really know if I did it right. I don't know if you're supposed to put the belt around the outside of the poncho. What does the sealed one show? No, the sealed one does not show it wrapped around the back. And there, it's a black pistol taped to the side. And the guy I sold it or did the trade with, he's more into the Star Wars than the Transformers, and it's like a big smile on his face to get rid of the Transformer, and an even bigger smile on his face to get a carded vintage Star Wars figure. He loved it. He was very, very happy. I had like 4 figures. I thought I was gonna have to trade him multiples, and he was like, "I'll trade you across the board, buddy." That was pretty cool. This I got for $100 at a toy show. Another one where I had to. So you hit the booth and you ask, would you take? He wants $250. Would you take $100? No. Okay. I was like, I really want it. I can't go more than $100. And then you hit it again 2 hours later, and he's like, I do $150. I was like, I still can't do more than $100. You hit it at the end of the show. Go ahead and take $100. Now that's probably not going to work this day and age. It's probably not going to work at all. The whole point of this, and my friend, my buddy Trey, said that he thought it was just the carbonite, so he never bought it as a kid because he thought, what, they're just selling me a chunk of plastic. He didn't realize that it was actually a figure in there, and he's supposed to clip in place enough that your figures can carry it, but it doesn't work for me like that. But aside from that, it's kind of a boring figure. There's no other accessories, which is fine for tracking it down, which makes this chunk of carbonite really expensive. And I will say again, I'm just thankful I bought the stuff when I did. Here's the coins. And he's on a speeder bike. Luke's on a speeder bike because it was part of the movie, the show. And it is funny. Look, it shows him like encased in carbonite. Let's see, the glare. How are you supposed to show these with the glare? He's got his hands up. Next we got Barada and R2-D2 with pop-up lightsaber. And I just want to say this. This coin is for R2-D2, and I didn't bring his coin up, so at least I don't think I did. Yeah, I can't. I know I've got his coin down there somewhere, but anyhow, Barada's a fun one. Another one I got in that deal. That's steal of the deal, 5,000, and I'm glad I got it. So I mean, checked almost the rest of these. Last 17s off my list carded in one shot. I think he was trying to get a full set of last 17s. But one weird thing about this is he's wearing like a yellow torso shirt, but his sleeves are white or cream. He's got a backpack on because he's gonna go shopping at Walmart, and that's how it goes, right? Kind of like a lizard face. He really doesn't match the artwork. Like the newer ones they make look a lot more like the picture there, but I like this figure. It's a cool looking tough figure to just put in your display and have him on your Tatooine skiff, and you know, to be over there nudging Luke over the side, right? And then the pop-up lightsaber R2. Now these little suckers here have been a bit of a challenge. Like when I was collecting these, I got one for like $2 and one for 50 cents, and then getting these little pop-up things, these are not cheap. Like somebody knows. Okay, so this one that I'm handling, I think is a stand solo because it is too nice to just be a regular one, but I'm not even sure. But if it stands solo, I kind of feel like this label shouldn't have yellowed like it has. It should be like crisp and new looking, but you know, this one here is more crisp and new. So anyway, let's do this little twist here, and this is what the whole gimmick is. So you have this a lightsaber in there, and then you twist it. But it's not that great of a lightsaber. It's like a billy club, and it's shaped that way so that when it moves around, you can see they've shaped it different in the inside there. So it's just going up a ramp to the back, and then it comes back down that ramp. But since it has that nub on the end, it still kind of stays up a bit. You have to push it down to go all the way into it. That's why because it's shaped like that. But some of these are more rough than others. But and we're not going to look too deep into that there. I did a lot of cheating with that card back because man, this stuff's got it was expensive back then. I can't imagine trying to complete this stuff in 2025. The final countdown, the final one, and it is the Luke Skywalker in Stormtrooper, which was and still is to this day the bane of my collecting this whole thing here. Like, I would say it would be the Yakface, but I'm accepting of the fact that I'm just going to live with the stand solo. I was not going to accept any reproduction card back and stuff on this. I even went out of my way to get an original card back, and I was going to put a bubble on it, and I was just going to reseal it on the original card back, but this deal came along, and this put me over the edge. The fact this was in that $5,000 lot, I was like, I have to buy it because it's like an $800 or $900 figure back then. I don't know what it's going for now. Might still just be an $800 or $900 figure. I mean, I don't know. Sealed. But even back then, these were like going for 150 loose. Now, this is another toy-based tin deal, and I had already gotten the coin from Steve. So I had the coin, but just like this, he sold this to me for $75. Knowing I already had the coin. There's a little dust on that. So they say, Mike, how do you dust your collection? I do videos and I dust them as I go. That's how it goes. It's a very yellowed helmet, Stormtrooper helmet. Now I do have probably 7 reproduction helmets of different people made different ones, and I've just tested them out over the years, just so that the other like 5 that I have a helmet, right? But this is the original one. And I'm like, oh man, maybe I should whiten it. But I'm like, well, that's how I know that this is the one that's original. And yeah, it's because it's yellowed. But a lot of people say that this could be a Stormtrooper. This could be just a background Stormtrooper. So if you're a kid and they put it out for $4, you could get yourself 6 of these and have 6 Stormtroopers. Or you could have yourself the Luke and it would work. So all this good, truthful stuff. And this thing is hard, real hard. I don't know if they all are. I don't know how hard that one is. I'm not going to try it. But yeah, comes with a black blaster. And only like in the last 2 or 3 years did I find out that there's a difference between black and blue black. This one is black blaster. And so, and I personally just do not care about all that. All that, like, is it original? Blue black blaster. At the end of the day, I'm going to turn to dust. So if as long as I enjoy what's on my shelf, looking at it, it doesn't matter to me. I don't know why people would pay $1,000 for something just because it's original, and I could just go get a $3 repro. But I'm certain that was original. But if I got screwed over and it was a repro when I paid $75, I still don't care. But anyway, one of the cooler figures in this. Pretty good sculpts. And yes, Dan Solo did his. I didn't have a need to pick his up because I have enough of these. But I probably should get the Han in Stormtrooper from him. Sure hope you enjoyed this look at the last 17 KENNER Star Wars from 1985. And they went out with a bang. Some of these are really good figures. Some of them kind of suck. But at the end of the day, they're all pretty darn expensive. So, except Anakin. And yeah, I'm glad I got them. I'm glad I collected them when I did. I would really hate trying to complete them this day and age. That would be terrible. Absolutely. And yeah, some of the loose ones probably could use some accessories, so it is what it is. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you after this? Do you like this? Are you happy there's stand solo options out there? Like, subscribe. Teddy Hammer out.